Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the episode of the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez here. Hope you guys had an amazing Halloween weekend. Hope you guys are coming back to me. It's fun. Had some good times. Maybe you all went out to a Halloween party. You guys got a nice, got a nice buzz with some candy, of course. That's all I'm speaking up. I'm just kidding. No, I hope you guys had a great weekend with you and your loved ones. Hope your kids got a lot of candy that you guys could definitely raid. I've rated my kids' candy already, man. We got Tootsie Roll Pops, we got Butterfingers, we got Milky Ways, all you name it. So it was a good night. Trick or treating for like a couple hours. It's always a fun thing, especially with the kids. They come home, they were so excited. They count the candies. They're like, "Oh, I want to separate the chocolates from the colorful candy." And I'm like, "All right." I'm just like there sitting in the background. I'm just kidding. Moving on. I did not steal all their candies, guys. I did not. I promise. All right, so moving on. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez here. Thank you guys so much. Always love it when you guys have the time, take time out of your busy schedule. I know a lot of you guys could probably be like, "Oh, I'm going to catch some sleep, get ready for a fun, fulfilled Tuesday for tomorrow." But you're like, you know what? I still, I kind of have a soft spot for that dorky wrestling guy on the GSMC Sports Network and Podcasting Network. So by all means, definitely love and respect you guys. We have a great show for you today, all lined up. Today we're going to talk about some WWE Smackdown. We're going to talk about some Monday Night Raw. We're also going to talk about WWE Crown Jewel. In our fourth segment, we're going to talk about Montez Ford, talking about how he is frustrated with the character development and creative nuptials that is his that his character and where his his career. It's kind of at in this pop, in this moment. I got some quotes, I got some reports I want to talk about. In our fifth and final segment, we're going to talk about Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin, along with Tegan Knox, Indi Hartwell, recently released from WWE. Obviously, with Tegan, she was great. Indi was great. I think the shocking factor out of who got released was Baron Corbin. A lot of people thought that he was going to get re-signed, and now he got a text basically saying that, hey, guess what? We're not going to extend your contract. And then Indi Hartwell and Tegan Knox have 90 days until they can actually pursue a new wrestling career if that's what they want to kind of get into. So we're going to get into that. But of course, before absolutely anything, I want to remind you guys to go ahead and hit up that super chat, whether you've got a burning question or a hot take in terms of the world of professional wrestling here at the GSMC Sports Network. We want you guys to know that we are all ears. Absolutely drop anything inside that chat. Should be awesome. Should be super sick. Make sure your voice is heard. I want to make sure that you guys feel like your voice is part of the mix. So don't be shy. Drop your thoughts inside that chat. And if you really, really, really want to make sure your comment, question, or concern gets noticed on air, why not use that super chat? It's that $ below the chat box. Anything you put in there will be talked about, discussed about. If it's really juicy, it can be debated about. So yeah, guys, make sure you guys do that. It's pretty awesome. Plus, it's also a great way to support our channel here at GSMC Sports Network. We definitely love it when you guys send in those super chats. It helps us keep the lights on a lot of these podcasts with these amazing, passionate podcasters that have one goal in mind, is making sure that you guys feel like you guys have consumed the perfect amount of sports content. That's what we are here for. That's what we love doing. Your happiness is our happiness. So, definitely love you guys, tune into the GSMC Sports Network. We are super grateful for each and every one of you guys who joins us here on the GSMC Sports Network daily. Your support makes all the difference. So let's keep the conversation going. Let's get this party started, guys. Let's get this party going. And, we'll make sure this show is bigger, better, and stronger than ever. Remember to hit up those super chats, those super stickers, because you guys are super awesome. And once again, it's super chat, not your thing. You can still hit up the gsmcpodcast.net, hit up the tips and donations link. Tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like. Just remember to Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show. Follow the show, follow the network here at the GSMC Sports Network. We do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity, 1,010%. But of course, in terms of talking sports, it's inevitable. Disagreements and debates are going to happen, some criticisms, and it's okay. Don't be shy. Drop it inside that chat. Drop it inside that thought box. I want to hear what you guys have to say. 1,010%. So yeah, don't be shy. Just unload that gun of criticism. All right, moving on to the first segment. We got some WWE Friday Night Smackdown review. All in all, I felt like it was a decent episode of Smackdown, but then again, what could you expect? heading up toward Crown Jewel. You didn't really want to necessarily outshine what was going to happen on Saturday. So, there was a lot of, I feel like there was a lot of misbooked spots, but I feel like it could have been better. But then, like I said, you have the biggest event in, Saudi Arabia. This is kind of like their WrestleMania. This is an event that they look forward to, the whole year. They don't get international WWE spots like you have here in the United States of America. So whenever they have a chance to kind of watch or consume some WWE product live and in person, WWE likes to save all the content, save all the drama for once when it unfolds before Jeddah or Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. So the show was good though. The show was good though. We saw Nia Jax, Liv Morgan. Tiffany Stratton came out. She came out absolutely trying to get in the heads of not just Liv Morgan, but also Nia Jax. I thought that was actually pretty cool. Kind of creating that unpredictability factor that Tiffany Stratton is, she's going to cash in. Once again at the end of the promo, you had Nia Jax leaving everybody out, and of course the match went to when you saw Liv Morgan defeat Tiffany Stratton, and it's getting to the point where Liv Morgan right now, she's untouchable. She has her insurance policy. She has Raquel Rodriguez. She also have Dirty Dominic Mysterio and the rest of the Judgment Day. I feel like she's uncashionable, and I know that's not a word, but I feel like Tiffany Stratton can't cash in her woman's Money in the Bank because she has so much protection. It would be just like throwing your bet away, and I feel like Nia Jax is actually, she's starting to kind of cohere to this reality that the only safe option is for Tiffany to cash in on her. And obviously, that comes to no surprise because you saw the numbers game play dividends on WWE Crown Jewel, which we're going to talk about in our third segment. But it's just like Tiffany Stratton, she's the briefcase holder. She holds the money, women's Money in the Bank. Right now, there is no men's Money in the Bank, so all the attention is on Tiffany Stratton, and the fact that once again, kind of digging into what happened at WWE Crown Jewel. So far, we've had multiple cash in attempts, and it hasn't really came in fruition. It hasn't really been taken seriously, and it could diminish the value of the case. At first, when Tiffany Stratton had the case and there was no men's Money in the Bank cash in possibility, I was like, oh my god, this is going to be a great cash in. Like you saw Seth Rollins cashing in a Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. But now the way it's been kind of playing out on WWE Smackdown, now it's starting to look to me like more like an Austin Theory kind of cash in. Like, you know what I mean? There was a couple times where he came out and he was teasing it, and it kind of ended up to, kind of being a joke. So, definitely don't want Tiffany Stratton to fall into that category. I feel like this briefcase is definitely going to jumpstart her singles, her career. She's going to be pushed. So I just wanted to be done right. I feel like she deserves that. Next, we have a Kevin Owens video talking to Randy Orton about what happened. He said, I don't want to fight you, never wanted to hurt you, now I'm going to. Classic heel turn. Classic, I want the crowd to, to continue riding this baby face that is Randy Orton because Randy Orton was never really like a baby face in the past of WWE. Even now he comes out and people are singing his anthem, singing his his entrance music, and he's just soaking it in. He's happy. And I feel like overall Randy Orton is he's definitely a WWE future Hall of Famer. And he's definitely like a huge sigh of relief for any wrestling fan every single time he steps into the squared circle with absolutely anybody staring across from him on the other side of the ring. It's going to be a good match. It's going to be a good match because Randy has been notorious for putting on great matches within his career. Also, he's been notorious of punishing people who, kind of miss spots, kind of botch moves, like it happened with, Kofi Kingston twice in his career. And obviously, when you saw him go to St. Louis with NXT, the second episode of the CW saw him battle Javon Evans. And Javon Evans absolutely knew he messed up. He was like, "Oh my god!" Like he even said, "I'm sorry" after the match. And I think Randy Orton's kind of at this point in his career where he's like, you know what, I'm here to promote you. I'm here to make sure that you guys feel like you have a future with WWE, as opposed to him being like, you totally messed up my spot, man. That was supposed to be an awesome RKO off the top rope, but at the end of the day, he was very understandable and he gets it. He gets it. So I thought that was actually pretty cool. Street Profits defeat Pretty Deadly. Love the win by the Street Profits. Want to continue seeing this momentum moving forward. Naomi and Bayley defeat Indi Hartwell, Candice LeRae once again. No belt. No WWE Speed Championship held by Candice LeRae. Like, what are you ashamed of it? Like, why isn't WWE letting her, prance around the ring, letting her come down the entranceway with the title? It's the inaugural WWE Speed Women's Championship. It should be like man, like we introduced their form of a mid card belt for these women, and I just feel like they're dropping a ball. I don't think that it's not being done correctly. I wanted to see Candice LeRae flaunt that championship like she earned it, which she did. So she deserves all the glory. But right now, the glory is not upon any form of WWE speed, the men's, the women's, like any of that. So I don't know. It was kind of disappointing to see. And of course, later on in the night, I learned that Indi Hartwell was released from WWE, and I was like, dude, that's crazy. She was just on SmackDown. And I feel like with the right bookings, Indi Hartwell could have been great. Obviously, she was amazing in NXT. She's an NXT Women's Champion. She's a WWE Women's Tag Team Champion with Candice LeRae. And then with that heel turn too that she had with Candice was pretty awesome. I thought it was great. It was good booking for her at the time. But it's just the way it kind of all planned out. I feel bad for Indy, but then again, once Indy Hartwell has joined the list of many WWE NXT superstars who have debuted on the main roster, Raw or SmackDown, and have kind of just been let down by WWE creative. So it sucks. It sucks. I would have loved to see her stay in WWE, but it is what it is. What can we really say? Next, Naomi said that she's best Nia Jax. Pretty sure that she's going to be her next contender for that title belt. Jimmy, Jay, and Roman, they were talking inside the ring. He said, Jimmy was talking to Roman saying that I made up with my brother. And then Jay, of course, was a little skeptical about showing, and about showing emotions. Also, kind of coinciding himself with Roman Reigns after everything he's done in the past. He said, I never forgot what you did. You know what I mean? I'm your equal now. It's not like there's any power distance between him and Roman Reigns, which at this point which is kind of true, But at the end of the day, you saw the yeet happen. Roman Reigns, he said Jey Uso wanted, a pact, wanted an agreement by the original tribal chief, being like, look, we're all equals now. I'm not above you. You're not above me. We're gonna protect the family use. And of course, his reaction was, he said yeet, and you can tell it in Roman Reigns' face that he was trying so hard not to laugh and smile because this whole yeet thing with Jey Uso is, it's kind of put him over the top. It's put him over the top. I like it. I like it how fans are constantly yeeting inside the arenas. But at the end of the day, for me, it seems kind of silly, like what I mean. But it is what it is. It's like it's wrestling. You have your catchphrases and stuff like that. A Town Down Under in the backstage promo calls out the Motor City Machine Guns. Maybe this is the finally going to be the time when A Town Down Under breaks up. To be honest, that's the only thing I'm kind of looking forward to watching this tag team match. I want to see Austin Theory absolutely demolish Grayson Waller because not being mean or anything, but Grayson Waller, he's kind of a joke. He's kind of a joke. And I'm not hating on him because obviously, in terms of any wrestling superstars, I respect them as entertainers, athletes, and all the time they spend away from home and stuff like that, like going on the road. I probably wouldn't be able to kind of do that kind of stuff. So of course I admire. But Grayson Waller, I felt like he should have ultimately stayed in NXT. I thought he was kind of called up a little prematurely. But now you kind of have this feud, this breakup that could maybe send his career to the next level, I guess you can say. So maybe he can be realized, or maybe he can be taken seriously on the SmackDown roster. Because as of right now, he's not really showing any kind of faith here, not really seeing Grayson Waller being anything more than than a side gimmick to Austin Theory eventually becoming a single star, being pushed by WWE, and eventually winning a WWE Championship. We had a fatal four-way match. We had Io Sky overcoming Bianca Belair, Piper Niven, and Lash Legend, and I'm just in awe. I'm just in awe every single time I see Lash Legend enter the ring. She's phenomenal. She's definitely one of the best women's wrestlers in NXT, WWE, AEW, TNA, and I can't wait to see what WWE has in store for her. Io Sky as well. All these four women were actually pretty damn impressive. Bianca Belair, enough said. She is truly the EST of WWE. Definitely, one of the best in terms of lacing up their boots and making their way onto the ring. And she's just loved. She's loved by the WWE universe. She's loved by her peers. She's phenomenal. She's great. Bianca Belair is like your idealistic. You know how sometimes when you're talking to your mother and and they're like, oh, I want you to marry a woman that this and that and the other, this and that and the other. In terms of being a WWE superstar, I feel like Bianca Belair checks all those boxes. That's the reason why she is in fact the EST of WWE. I want to see her jump back into the singles scene once again, holding a WWE Women's Championship, holding a Women's World Championship. But right now, the thing that she has going on with Jade, it's okay. It's okay. And at first, I got to be honest, I was a little cynical about it. I was like, why are you taking these two top stars? When Jade debuted in WWE Royal Rumble, she eliminated Nia Jax. She eliminated, she was a complete and utter badass. And it was like, oh, this girl from AEW, the longest reigning TBS champion, and like you see her come out to WWE, she comes into the tag team division. But then again, more or less, maybe that just depicts on the way WWE is portraying this women's tag team division. Maybe, the belt isn't taken seriously because it's not featured on, more PLEs or more main event kind of statuses. Because right now, I feel like on Raw and on SmackDown, you could definitely have these girls fight in the main event for those tag team titles. And I feel like it would create a little more prestige. It would have the titles to be, kind of more of a bigger deal, I guess you can say. More of an astonished accomplishment as opposed to, receiving a little bit over 5 minutes a match for a women's world tag team championships, which I don't think is quite sufficient. In my opinion, of course, 1,010%. And lastly, in main event, you saw Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes defeat Imperium, pinning Ludwig Kaiser after a crossroads. Kevin Owens, of course, came out after attacking Randy Orton, and you saw Gunther choking out Cody Rhodes. Once again, building up some storylines up to WWE Crown Jewel. All right, guys. So, hey, do not go anywhere. We got done talking about our WWE Smackdown review. And now, without further ado, we're going to jump on to some WWE Monday Night Raw, also taking place in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. It has already aired. I know this might come as I have not watched it, though. So, I'm actually very proud of myself. When I was doing research, earlier this morning. And I don't think it was earlier this morning, and I was like, do not click on anything that says Raw results or or live action, review and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, I'm coming in to watch Monday Night Raw absolutely blind. I'm as blind as a bat. I can't wait to see what happens tonight. I think they're gonna tear the roof off this joint, and I'd like to share it with you guys when we come back. So hey, do not go anywhere.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift. Oh,
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
All right, we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time, here to talk about everything in the world of professional wrestling, all the action inside and outside of the ring. We talk about backstage curtain calls, drama, and rumors. We talk about WWE, AEW, TNA, Ring of Honor, you name it. We talk about superstar inactive statuses, injury updates as well, contract negotiations, extensions, and new signings from all these promotions. So make sure you guys tune into to this awesome wrestling podcast that we have every Monday through Friday on the GSMC Sports Network at 8 p.m., 11 p.m. Eastern Time. I was just kind of reflect on what we talked about right quick. We had our WWE Friday Night Smackdown review. All in all, I thought it was pretty great. I thought it was a good episode. And now we're going to dive into this preview that is WWE Monday Night Raw. I know a lot of you guys already have watched this and you guys are like, oh my God, where's the proximity to this? But, I have not watched it yet. Maybe there's some people who haven't watched it yet and they're watching this preview and they're like, you know what? It is what it is. Sometimes sometimes you gotta, pre-record stuff to watch it. Sometimes you're at work, you don't get to see it. So then when you dive into it, you love being surprised and you love the unpredictability of WWE or professional wrestling for that matter, kind of like I do. But before we get into our Monday Night Raw talk, we're going to talk about something important. It's the super chat, guys. I want to hear from you guys, whether if you got a burning question or a hot take in terms of the world of professional wrestling, or just something you've been dying to get off your chest here at the GSMC Sports Network. We are all ears 1,010%, of course. Absolutely, guys. Let's keep this conversation lively. Also, let's I just want to make sure you guys feel like your voice is part of the mix. It's easy for me to just come up here and talk about wrestling, just yell at you guys for like an hour. For me, it's fun, but it'd be a lot more funner with a lot of audience engagement. Definitely love hearing you guys' opinions, because at the end of the day, we put on these podcasts to please who? The audience. Duh. I'm just kidding. I know. No, but that's what we multiply do. So, hit us up in the chat. Let us know, how we're doing. Let us know, give me some of your wrestling hot takes. Give me some, what you did over, over Halloween weekend. Maybe you did something crazy. That's like, oh my God, maybe you dressed up as a WWE superstar. I was so close. Dressing up like the Macho Man Randy Savage until I, researched online and I saw how much everything would have cost, and I was like, bummer, dude, bummer. But yeah, guys, don't be shy. Drop your thoughts inside that chat. And if we really, really, really want to make sure your comment, question, or concern gets noticed on air, why not use that super chat? It's that $sign below the chat box. Anything that you guys put inside that box is going to be is guaranteed to be featured and talked about on this show. If it's something really juicy, definitely could be debated about. Definitely could be, take place as one of the segments that I have here. Definitely love hearing from you guys. Definitely want to make sure that you guys feel like this is ultimately our wrestling show, as opposed to just like this guy who comes on 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, talking about wrestling on the GSMC Sports Network. Just want to, just be part of the mix, guys. We are super grateful for each and every one of you guys. So thank you in advance. Thank you to absolutely everyone who joins the GSMC, who enjoys the GSMC Sports Network daily, who watches it. Your support makes all the difference. So let's keep this conversation going. Let's keep this party going, and make sure you send in those super chats, those super stickers, because you guys are super awesome. And together we will make sure this podcast is bigger, better, and stronger than ever. Once again, super chat, not your thing. It's all good. Hit up the tips and donations link at the GSMCpodcast.net. Tell me how you feel. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Just remember to absolutely Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show. Follow the show. Follow the network here, the GSMC Sports Network. We do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity, 1,010%. So, make sure you guys do it. And of course, if you feel shy, if you disagree with me, it happens. In terms of talking sports, criticisms, sometimes, we don't see eye to eye, and it's okay. Hit it up in the chat box. Tell me however you feel. And, at the end of the day, feedback from you guys is an absolute gift. So don't be shy and drop your thoughts inside that chat. All right, so let's go and talk about some WWE Monday Night Raw. It's awesome. It's going to be great at the Muhammad Abdo Arena in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. We are expecting the WWE Women's World Champion Liv Morgan and the Crown Jewel Champion to appear. Something that's kind of funny. Not funny, but it's kind of messed up. The belts are going to stay in Saudi Arabia, and these people, these winners, Cody Rhodes and Liv Morgan, they just get like a Super Bowl ring. At the end of the day, it's cool and all, but for me, I'd rather have a Lombardi trophy like hanging up in my trophy case. You know what I mean? Like having these rings and the way that these belts have been portrayed through WWE within the last couple of weeks, how you've had two guys carrying it out like a weapon of mass destruction, how it has to be handled with care, how it's like the most precious gem on the face of the planet. Not being able to kind of take it home, it would kind of suck. It would kind of suck, but it is what it is. It should be interesting to find out who's going to challenge her for her World Women's Championship, especially with Rhea Ripley out. She's expected to be out from anywhere from 4 weeks to 4 months. It's crazy. She just came back from that elbow injury. Like I said, it was a spot back in NXT Halloween Havoc. I'm not too sure if this is if they're trying to play kayfabe or not. Maybe something's actually wrong with Rhea Ripley. Maybe that elbow is acting up again, but she's not expected to come back until at least I've read reports that maybe she comes back on the first episode of the on Netflix, or maybe she comes back in February at the Royal Rumble. But as of right now, it just doesn't look good, especially with her coming back, trying to build up momentum for her to become a world champion once again. And by all means, I'm not once again, I'm not a Liv Morgan. I'm not a lover, I'm not a hater. But at this point in time, it's definitely the perfect chance for WWE to push Liv Morgan, to make her seem in terms of the WWE audience as this main event kind of player. And I feel like that's something that's kind of been like a lack thereof for quite some time. And, obviously, I don't speak on behalf of every wrestling fan out there because, I always kind of thought Liv Morgan's, matches weren't that great, but she has been getting better. That's something, obviously, you have to pay respects whenever, it's given. You also, you just have, you just have to you have to become eye to eye with sometimes with your feelings. Like for me, I'm just like, you know what? Liv Morgan's trash, this and that, the other. She came from a Hooters. She knows nothing about professional wrestling, and now the way she is inside the ring, like, gotta admit I'm wrong. I thought, definitely think that she's great. Definitely think that she could be a future player in terms of the women's division heading forward within the next decade, especially with this new WWE Monday Night Raw Netflix deal, which is which is expected to last 10 years. Obviously, Netflix, they do have a 5-year opt-in or out where they can choose to be like, yeah, we're gonna opt back in. But that would add like another, I think, 10 years to their contract. So, having a strong, stable women's division is exactly what needs to be established on Monday Night Raw. And right now, Rhea Ripley hasn't been consistently healthy. So if you put a lot of, concentration, a lot of attention on Liv Morgan, and the run she has had, and let's just make it happen. Let's just, she could definitely be a champion of the future, kind of like a Trish Stratus or like a Lita, maybe like a Charlotte Flair, Sasha Banks, once when Banks was in WWE. But, definitely got to throw her flowers whenever it's due. So, it's going to be interesting to find out who's going to challenge her next. My best bet would probably be, I'm not too sure how keen is Zoe Stark, Shayna Baszler, and Sonya Deville on their support of the WWE World Women's Champion, especially heading towards Survivor Series. I want to see a Survivor Series a women's War Games match. I wanted Team Liv against Team Rhea Ripley, but that's not going to happen. So now within these next couple of weeks of Raw, you're gonna have to see Liv Morgan probably establish, like a different foe. Somebody who's become another like arch nemesis. We also do have some some superstars that are projected to come back to WWE off of injury, like Charlotte Flair. Although Charlotte Flair has been dealt with SmackDown, I don't think she's going to come to Raw until they move to Netflix. Um, Maybe Io Sky, maybe Asuka comes back. There's a lot of possibility right now. I ultimately feel like Damage Control does deserve a little bit more of attention. Obviously, I feel like when Dakota Kai got injured, WWE kind of took a step back on promoting this young women's faction with these amazing Japanese wrestlers. And with the promotion of the WWE, independent circuit coming out, you're going to want to see a lot of these superstars kind of see that, it's not petty. It's not petty at all. You kind of want to ultimately promote generational talents as well as international. So when you see these independent wrestling people, watching WWE, like, hey, let's see, I can do that. I can be that person. So, kind of adding Io Sky to the mix would be pretty badass. She's a former WWE Women's Champion. To see her hold both titles, not both titles, but on separate occasions, the Women's World Championship, it could be big. But I feel like right now, like I mentioned before in the last segment, Liv Morgan is kind of untouchable right now. You have Dominic Mysterio and her muscle Raquel Rodriguez. No one's gonna touch Liv Morgan right now. So basically, anybody who steps up to the plate in this, in this Survivor Series before Rhea Ripley comes back, I don't want to say is like already kind of doomed or kind of like dead to right. Like there's no way in hell they're gonna win the championship. More or less, just kind of be that spot where you could wrestle for the championship, but then you lose. But then ultimately, sometimes losing could ultimately propel you to the next step. And I feel like Io Sky's already kind of accomplished that. So that would kind of go off my table a little bit. But obviously, WWE absolutely unpredictable during the Triple H, Paul Levesque era. So, just kind of thinking on behalf of it, I don't know any other woman that would kind of step it up on Monday Night Raw. But it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a great episode. I can't wait to watch it. Gunther will speak. Obviously, the WWE World Heavyweight Champion came up short against Cody Rhodes for that prestigious, that Jet of Saudi Arabia, the Crown Jewel Championship. Damian Priest is set to take on Seth Rollins, Sheamus, and Dominic Mysterio, number one contenders match to find out who will take on Gunther at a date further down the line. My money's on, I feel like I would say Seth, but of course, after the way Crown Jewel ended with Bronson Reed basically, staring down Seth, being like, "Hey, dude, this isn't over. This isn't over." So I don't think it's over. I do not think it's over. To be, being brutally honest would be kind of crazy. And I know this is absolutely far-fetched. This is like the biggest conspiracy theory on the GSMC Wrestling Laureate, podcasting history. What if Seth Rollins is taken out backstage by Bronson Reed? What if, he's kind of beaten the hell out of and he can't move forward with the match? And then maybe you see somebody come in and, sneak and steal their spot, and like there's obviously a couple of names that'll pop up, because I feel like Dominic Mysterio taking on Gunther is a huge freaking mistake. It might be a wild card storyline perhaps that might kind of work, but just ultimately making Gunther look, bigger, better, and stronger than ever. What if you kind of had somebody like, Jey Uso, fight Gunther, like, what I mean? Or what if you had somebody like randomly, like maybe Brock Lesnar, or maybe like Bill Goldberg comes in, he has that title shot and, he already knows who his last match is going to be in 2025. So maybe that could work out. But as of right now, I feel like the only person that makes sense on this list is Damian Priest. Damian Priest goes head to head with Gunther once more. And, it should be interesting to find out what happens with that. Will Sami Zayn apologize to Roman Reigns? Will the OTC be here in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia? Because obviously last night, on Saturday, they had Crown Jewel. So you can expect, like I said before, for them, these events are very, very like once in a lifetime. They only get to watch these things maybe 2 to 6 times when WWE travels to Saudi Arabia. So this show is gonna, that's why I feel like it's gonna be big. That's why I feel like the OTC will be here as well. So it should be cool. Dragon Lee takes on Chad Gable. The War Raiders take on the New Day. What's going on with the Judgment Day? Maybe we'll find out a little bit more in the direction of Finn Balor. Also, Bo Dallas is going to build up War Games with, taking on The Miz and the Final Testament. So that's something that I'm definitely looking forward to. I can't wait to watch it. All right, guys, so we do not go anywhere. We're going to jump on into our third segment. We got our WWE Crown Jewel reaction. Going to give you guys some of my hardcore opinions on it. Obviously, let me know how you guys feel like inside the chat. So, grab your favorite snack, grab your favorite ice-cold beverage, and join me here. And, just do not go anywhere.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
All right, we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time, here to talk about the greatest thing in the world, professional wrestling, on the GSMC Sports Network. So make sure you guys, tune in. All right, just kind of reflect on what we talked about right quick. We talked about our WWE Friday Night Smackdown review. We had our WWE, although it's long overdue, I agree. We have the preview. Also, we talk about some possible directions of, post Crown Jewel. This is the Fallout show of Crown Jewel. Show should be pretty awesome. Can't wait. And I'm going to talk about our WWE Crown Jewel reaction. So, definitely love hearing from you guys. Remember, make sure you guys, hit up the tips and donations link. Also, hit up that super chat, those super stickers, because you guys are super awesome. Don't sell you guys short ever, like ever. So, let's talk about some WWE Crown Jewel. I can't wait to talk about it. It was, for an event happening in Saudi Arabia, basically anywhere not on American soil. I got to be honest, I liked it. I thought it, it had good bookings. It had more than 3 or 4 matches, which was great. I definitely loved the production value of it as well. I loved how, you kind of felt like a Royal Rumble kind of feel. You felt like a SummerSlam kind of worthy event. And, kind of like a WrestleMania. I talked about it on the previous segment, how these guys, basically everybody living in Saudi Arabia who have a chance to watch the WWE. If you don't have the money to kind of fly to America and watch, SummerSlam or Elimination Chamber or stuff like that, you could always, depend on it to come in your hometown. So this was for them, this is like once in a lifetime WrestleMania kind of stuff. I love it. I thought it was great. Definitely on my list of, definitely top 5, top 3 of my favorite Crown Jewels, to be honest, because we had some bad ones. There was some pretty bad ones. Obviously maybe I should do a segment about, my Crown Jewel, rankings or whatever like that. But overall, I thought it was decent. All right, so first match kicked off. It was an exciting one. We had the original Bloodline taking on this new young Bloodline of Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga Loa going up against Roman Reigns, the original Tribal Chief. And I don't know why Sami Zayn is. Oh, because Sami Zayn, he interfered in the match. Not after, but he didn't interfere, but he came in the match. Jimmy and Jey Uso, the Usos, recently found a spot back together. I don't know how long it's going to last. But overall, I felt like the match was great. I felt like it was, you had Solo Sikoa, cleanly pin Roman Reigns, pretty damn clean. It was to the point where I was kind of like, wow, this, I feel like WWE ultimately is doing this because Solo Sikoa has never really been taken seriously. I know I haven't. I have not taken him seriously. I feel like, Jacob Fatu outshines him. Damn, even Tama Tonga, outshines him sometimes. But, it was a great way to establish Solo Sikoa as maybe a possible threat heading towards Survivor Series because, the way it was going with Roman Reigns, they had to lose this match. They definitely had to lose this match for momentum purposes, just so people could, kind of approach this main event in War Games at Survivor Series, as, a little more seriously. And of course, you saw the new Bloodline pick up the victory. Then you saw Sami Zayn came out, at first kind of, extending his arms to a hug to the new Tribal Chief Solo Sikoa, but then, hitting up with an exploder suplex. Then, of course, he was mauled. Then you saw Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso come to the aid. You saw Roman Reigns kind of in the corner. He was beaten down before. And then you saw Solo Sikoa stand up in the middle, and it was, you saw Sami Zayn trying to attempt a haluva kick, and then you saw Roman Reigns trying to hit a Superman punch. Obviously, didn't really work out, and you could tell after the match, Roman Reigns was kind of sitting there. He was like he wanted to go back to the way he used to be, and kind of just like berate people and just kind of blame them for the loss. But then you kind of saw him like come to that sudden realization. It was like, you know what? Like I can't be that way anymore. I have to be a little bit more understanding. Does he trust Sami Zayn? As of right now, I wouldn't really say yes because he was trying to steer Jey Uso off the path of, joining the OTC's bloodline with him and his, brother Jimmy. So all in all, I thought it was a great match. Definitely leaving a lot of storylines open for the next couple of months, and also building up towards Survivor Series. So I thought they did their job pretty well. Next, we have a fatal four-way match for the WWE Women's World Tag Team Championships. First and foremost, Michael Cole and Corey Graves made an eminent, that the only reason why Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill lost the championships, first of all, was because of a triple threat. They weren't ever pinned, and I thought that was actually kind of funny. I knew that they had to win this one. And it was a great match. It was an amazing match. Definitely my second favorite match of the card. I thought it was great. All these 8 women were phenomenal. I got to be honest. I definitely loved Jade and Bianca Belair. Damage Control. Huge fan of Kairi Sane with that insane elbow hitting Piper Niven and Chelsea Green. Definitely loved the antics of Chelsea Green trying to attempt a backflip, but kind of was like, you know what? I don't think I can do this. I don't think I could like that. I thought that was funny as hell. I thought that was super cool. You saw a metaphor as well. Do what they did best. Lash Legend is amazing. Definitely one of the most impressive women superstar in this day and age. I definitely would love to see her win WWE NXT Women's World Championship. Hell, maybe even make it on the main roster. I think she could do phenomenal things. The crowd super into it. We got a "This is awesome" chant. I thought that was badass. The bodysuits on the girls looked absolutely phenomenal, and I'm not trying to be like that. Not trying to be like that, because in Saudi Arabia it's different in terms of what the women could wear, how much skin they could actually show, based on like religious purposes and culture. So so then I had this anticipation that these girls were going to be, they were going to be like head to toe, dressed. In the past there's been some costumes, some things that was kind of like, that kind of looks a little wonky, but obviously that's the culture, so you can't really complain about it. But I thought the bodysuits, it looked good. They make sense. It looked like there was some awesome, colors. I feel like I, got to even, on this show, we talk about praising WWE superstars, but on this case, we're talking about praising people in costume design, hair and makeup and stuff like that. I thought they did really, really well. Carol Jackson, definitely, she looked all right. She talks the talk, but inside the ring, I feel like she could definitely be, I feel like she could definitely be a little more better hitting her spots and stuff like that. But not by all means, not trying to throw shit at her. I thought overall her performance was amazing. But kind of reminds me of like kind of like her and Liv Morgan, how she could definitely. There's always room for improvement. Like what I mean. I'm not here standing here. Not sorry, my bad. Sitting here on the mic, be like, oh, I'm the best podcaster in the world. I never botch crap. Um, that's not true. That's not true. Sometimes I do use a lot of vocalized pauses like and or so. Obviously, this is what we do. We practice. Practice makes perfect. Give me some reps, dog, and we'll make it work out. But overall, I definitely did love the match as a whole, and I love the outcome of the match as well. Seth Rollins taking on Big Bad Bronson Reed. Several stomps, could not finish this Australian monster. And after the match, you saw him standing in the ring, telling Seth Rollins, "Hey, dog, this is not over. I might be bleeding." I definitely did love that blood spot. I don't know if it was bleeding, but it was great. It was great, and especially for a rivalry like this, it was appropriate. It was very appropriate. These two are going to see each other within future and within the match. I definitely loved how Bronson Reed, he looked great. He looked like he was ready to take on this responsibility of becoming a main eventer. Seth Rollins as well. Getting that win, building up momentum. for a potential WWE World Heavyweight Championship match, winning the belt, taking on CM Punk at WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas, Nevada. It all starts with this. It all starts with this momentum where Seth Rollins, coming back from an injury, coming back from, with the knee injury, he needs to establish himself once again, not as a successful superstar, because as the WWE Universe, that he can already be that based on his accolades. He needs to kind of establish himself that he can stay healthy. He can, a couple of, knee injuries. It's bad. It's bad. And that could set back a lot of wrestlers because, like, if you think about it, your knee, your legs in general, but your knee, I feel like in particular, it does absorb a lot of the pressure when you jump off the top rope, when you land inside the ring, when you're hitting like a splash, and then you have to, like, obviously, it's choreographed. You don't like land on like bam. You kind of have to like place your knees and stuff like that. You have to sell matchups. You have to sell basically everything. And the way Seth Rollins did it in this match, I felt like it was a nice little, like, kind of like what he was talking about with Adam Pearce, being like, you have to give me this match because I need to test myself. I need to know what are my limitations, and I want you to know, as the Raw general manager, who Seth Rollins actually is. And I felt like he established that to a crap ton. And it's, the same with Bronson Reed. I felt like there was no literal loser in this match. I thought this match was a huge win from the get go. So definitely give this match an A+ in my book. Next, we have the WWE Women's World Champion Liv Morgan taking on the WWE Women's Champion Nia Jax in this Crown Jewel Championship match. I thought the match was, I thought it was, I thought it was good. I thought it was good. And Nia Jax did definitely have a couple of spots where she oversold the move. Well, not oversold it. I don't want to say that. She definitely did sell the move to the point where it did make Liv Morgan seem like, she is the champion that she is. And I definitely, I love and respect that. Obviously, these two have a history behind the curtain. They're friends. They have good spots together. When you have that friend chemistry inside the ring, it's just phenomenal. So Nia one day woke up and like was like, oh, Triple H is having the champions face against each other in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. So like, cool, I get to work with Liv. You know what I mean? So I thought these two, their chemistry was phenomenal. The outcome of the match I thought was pretty badass. Once again teasing that that Money in the Bank cash in by Tiffany Stratton was, it was all right. It was all right. I feel like there's been a lot of teases so far. And, obviously after this, you're going to see Nia Jax and the Tiffany Stratton storyline head to more of a darker, more than it kind of already is, because she's grabbed Tiffany by the throat, disrespected her with her words. And, the WWE Universe wants Tiffany Stratton to turn and cash in on Nia Jax. That's something that WWE is, slow playing. So, on Friday Night SmackDown, you're going to see Nia Jax definitely blaming Tiffany Stratton for her loss. So, mostly building up toward like a betrayal, kind of like we saw with Shawn Michaels and Big Daddy Cool Diesel, like Triple H and, Batista in Evolution. Kind of like that same marksman. So it should be pretty cool. Should be pretty badass. I can't wait to watch it. Once again, I feel like Liv Morgan cannot be cashed in. She has way too many insurance policies. She's always protected either by Raquel Rodriguez or Dominic Mysterio. Definitely think cashing in on hers going to be harder. You're not cashing in on one person, you're cashing in on three. And the only person that seems like it makes sense, the only person that it seems like it could be, relatively a fair fight, is cashing in against Nia Jax. So that, and all in all, it should be cool. I did kind of read this report that they did not have the cash in by Tiffany Stratton because they did not want to overshadow Liv Morgan's moment winning the first ever Crown Jewel Women's Championship. Obviously, like I mentioned before, we'll talk about the bodysuits and the culture of Saudi Arabia. Sometimes women, it's more of a more of a journey, more of a kind of like a setting where you know you are celebrated because that's the culture. That's the culture. They do celebrate their women for them inside, Saudi Arabia. They don't want their women to show skin because, the woman's body is sacred. Obviously, as opposed to the United States where, women are like, oh, the body's sacred. But here in the United States, for a woman to show that she's confident, for a woman to have confidence in her body and to be like, oh, I look good. Like they can go out wearing like tank tops and short shorts and stuff like that. different cultures, 1,010%. Obviously, not hating, not throwing any kind of shade, but kind of have a woman kind of in the limelight, kind of in the spotlight, like Liv Morgan had, and like you saw her in her speech, she was crying. She was damn near crying. She was letting out that early Liv Morgan wrestling fan kind of girl that used to work at, used to work at Hooters and stuff like that. Like she was crying. She was, she felt honored, and she was standing side by side with the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes at the end of the match. You saw Jeddah Saudi Arabian like politicians there shaking their hands, and the city thanked them. The fans were absolutely phenomenal, and all in all, I thought it was a good spot. And Liv Morgan definitely did reserve that. Definitely deserved that. Kind of reservation in terms of the that attention and stuff like that. Randy Orton, Kevin Owens. This match ended up in a no contest. I definitely love the trolling by Kevin Owens wearing that Cowboy Bob Orton shirt. I thought that was pretty badass. The match was waved off due to a lot of chaos. Adam Pearce was RKO'd. Maybe that's going to be addressed tonight on Monday Night Raw. I know there's been speculations that Adam Pearce might take on Nick Aldis on Survivor Series. I personally don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. I feel like the reason why Pearce and Aldis is great in terms of the WWE right now is you do not have them in any kind of storylines. Usually you had the Raw general manager screwing somebody. Like, you know what I mean? When it was Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan, when you had Stephanie McMahon with Mick Foley, and then Stephanie McMahon and Kurt Angle, Teddy Long, and then you had Eric Bischoff, you had all these, AJ Lee, you have all these former general manager, Vicky Guerrero, all these former general managers found a way to kind of insert themselves into the wrestling storyline. And it was exactly what I thought it was going to be. It was BS. It was bullspit. It was terrible. You can't have the officials kind of do it. That's like the Vince McMahon era. During the Vince McMahon era, as the chairman of the board, as the ultimate antagonistic character, the bad guy, the corporate, bully, it would only work under Vince. I'm sorry, and I'm not trying to be like, Vince was all high and great and high and mighty and stuff like that. Because I do have a negative, annotation in terms of Vince McMahon, but neither here nor there. But I feel like ultimately, you have to keep the suits out of it. You got to keep the suits out of it, and him getting RKO'd was kind of crazy. You saw flying elbow hit by Kevin Owens on Randy Orton through the table. Obviously, these guys, their feud has just began. Should be badass. Triple threat match for the United States Championship lived up to the hype. Definitely one of my favorite one of my favorite matches of the night. You saw LA Knight go out there and be absolutely phenomenal. He was great. You saw Andrade go out there and be absolutely phenomenal. Carmelo Hayes going out there and just proving that he belongs inside that ring. Usually every single triple threat match, there's always like a scapegoated, kind of character that's kind of been, kind of forced off to the side where you have the two people who actually deserve the championship go at it. This time you saw all three guys get a piece of the pie, baby. They went out there, it was great. All three guys were in it. On three separate occasions, people were chanting for Carmelo Hayes. People, on a separate occasion, you saw people chanting for the LA Knight. And then on a separate occasion, you have people chanting for El Idolo Andrade. These three guys went in there and had an amazing match, and they deserve all the flowers. They deserve all the credit. It just sucks that there's only one title, one mid-card title that these guys have to constantly fight for, because in my opinion, these three men should be holding championships on their own. But, like I said, as coming from a wrestling fan, these three were absolutely phenomenal. They were great. Lastly, going to keep this short. Running out of time on this segment. Gunther controlled most of the match. He was unbeatable. He was unpinnable. Cody Rhodes tried everything inside his arsenal, but it wasn't enough to defeat Gunther. It took like a cheap roll up, because sometimes when you've given your opponent all you got, you've hit all your special signature moves, and you tried to, you try a submission, you try this and that and the other, and sometimes you kind of have to go down a road that you're not necessarily proud of. And so Cody Rhodes saw it as an opportunity. He's like, you know what? F it. Why not? Let's do it. Let's see how this works out. He got that 1, 2, 3. You could tell, like, once when he got done, like he was like surprised. He was like, "Oh my god! Like, what the hell?" It was kind of crazy. Like he did not know that he was going to win, although everybody in the world knew that he was going to win. But Gunther, this match did not make him look like the weaker champion. He went out. I loved the handshake. I love it when wrestlers, they shake each other's hands at the end of the match. It's just, it's that blurred line between kayfabe and reality. I definitely think it's going. I definitely think Gunther is a stand-up wrestler. He's definitely one of the best wrestlers in this modern day and age of professional wrestling. Both men looked good. Obviously, Cody Rhodes was the one to win the championship at the end, but overall, Gunther put on one hell of a match. And I got to be honest. I owe Gunther an apology. I kind of thought he was going to be like a Damian Priest, kind of a bridge champion to kind of hold it from until Seth Rollins got healthy, and now they're gonna have Seth taking on CM Punk. But I got to be honest. I want to see Gunther. I want to see him last a long time. I want to see him, run as the WWE World Heavyweight Champion because his modus apparatus or his reputation, so to speak, better said, has been known for putting on quality matchups. And once again, in the main spot, he has not, he's not let us down. So, we definitely had the two best superstars on the WWE roster holding the main prestigious goals on Raw and SmackDown. And, as a WWE, if you're a WWE official or a creative officer, you're happy about this. These are two very marketable champions. Gunther, amazing, dominant. Cody Rhodes, beloved by all, charismatic, that hero kind of feel that a lot of people kind of, put their eggs in the basket and be like, oh my God, I can't wait to watch Cody Rhodes because Cody Rhodes is, he truly is, he's amazing. He's both these guys, amazing. Can't wait to watch, more things unfold heading out towards Survivor Series. So it should be cool. All right, guys, we're going to jump onto our fourth segment, running out of time rapidly. We're going to talk about some Montez Ford frustrated with WWE and their creative team. We're going to talk about that when we come back. So, hey, do not go anywhere.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
All right, we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time. We're here to talk about the greatest thing in the world, professional wrestling. All the action inside and outside the ring, backstage current calls, rumors, and updates. We talk about superstar news, inactive statuses, injury updates. We talk about contract negotiations, extensions, and signings. We talk about wrestling promotions from AEW to WWE to Ring of Honor to TNA to the New Japan Professional Wrestling to Stardom to the GCW. Basically, for makes major news in the world of professional wrestling, we talk about it here on this show Monday through Friday. So do not miss anything, any snippet of the action. Make sure you guys, subscribe to the GSMC Sports Network. All right, so gonna reflect on what we talked about right quick. We had we talked about Friday Night Smackdown. We talked about Monday Night Raw. We talked about WWE Crown Jewel. And now we're gonna talk about Montez Ford frustrated with WWE's creative and where his character is currently at. And by all means, I can't help but to agree. I love Montez Ford. I've been advocating about it on this podcast ever since I started that this guy is going to be a future WWE champion. This guy needs to be pushed as a single star because, and that's not a dig on D'Angelo Dawkins because D'Angelo Dawkins is great, but clearly WWE does not want to put the tag team titles on these two men, and it's criminal. It sucks. It's terrible. So it's like to the point where it's like, all right, so then what other options do we have? They were like, oh, we don't want, Montez Ford to, be a single star and outshine, so then what are you going to do with him? He's going to end up as another amazing wrestling talent moving on from WWE. And of course, I feel like, as an AEW fan, he would be great. As a Ring of Honor fan, I feel like he'd be phenomenal. And as a TNA fan or a CMLL fan, he would be he would be like astonishing. He'd be like the new flavor. He would be an absolute main event caliber status. Him in a match with Nick Nemeth for the TNA World Championship would be, oh my God, that would be a dream match. That would be so amazingly great. That would be phenomenal. But you see Montez Ford for voicing his frustrations. He's been very vocal about growing frustrated with WWE. He feels that him and his partner D'Angelo Dawkins are rarely getting any spots on SmackDown and hardly being recognized. And then it's true, like something I talked about when we were talking about Bobby Lashley leaving AEW, being upset with WWE, saying that they dropped the ball in terms of his creative character. The only way that he was spotlighted was because during the COVID-19 pandemic during the year of 2000, late 2019, early 2021, there was a lot of wrestlers who, ultimately felt like that, this is too risky to go out there. I don't want to put my health on the line. And then you have wrestlers like, Bobby Lashley, Cedric Alexander, Shelton Benjamin, to kind of go out there and be like, look, like, we'll do it. We get a shot at perpetuating our career. No, that's not the right word. No, kind of enhancing. There we go. Enhancing your career. We're going to take it any way it comes. We're going to take it absolutely anywhere it comes. We're not going to complain about it. We're going to, we're going to take it as it is and, make, kind of relish in this moment, kind of seize the moment. And, it was good. Bobby Lashley was a WWE champion. Cedric Alexander, Shelton Benjamin were WWE tag team champions, and life was good. Life was great. And then you started seeing other wrestlers come back. And then, creative WWE creative was like, you know what? All right, you thank you so much for doing this and that and the other one, and nobody wanted us, and then they just kind of turned their back on them. They're like, hey, guess what? Too bad, so sad. We're done with you. Kick them to the curb. Kick them to the curb after everything they've ever done for our promotion during a time where people didn't want to work, people didn't want the chance getting sick, didn't want to, during the Thunderdome era, like perform in front of no fans, like it kind of sucks. And Bobby Lashley, and that's something that Montez Ford vocally expressed as well, that, about, Bobby Lashley and his thoughts on WWE. And then, of course, once when Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin were released, then he teamed up with the Street Profits. Well, they were known as the Profits. And then you kind of saw them coming out with sunglasses, acting like their stuff doesn't stink. And, later on down the line, at first it seemed like they were kind of heading toward like heels. I remember seeing it and I was like, no way, this isn't happening. They're not turning the Street Profits into heels. This is stupid. This is BS. This is terrible. Bad bookings. And then later on, WWE realized that and they were like, okay, we can't turn these guys heel. People love them so much. So then they turned into the Street Profits again with B-Fab or whatever. And it was, it was kind of silly, but it seems like they were booked in. I don't know. They seems like they've been booked in this more times, more than not. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Montez Ford had this to say, and I quote, he said, "For me to sit here and go like, hey, how's it going? Oh, that it's good. That'd be a lie. That'd be a lie. Feels like, it's taking too long. Obviously, what WWE is doing with their team. It's been too long, or maybe nothing's happening. 4 years since since we've become, obviously him and D'Angelo Dawkins of the Street Profits have become tag team champions. And, you can't help but to feel for Montez Ford. I feel like the WWE tag team division is an absolute lux. I thought, it's been it's been terribly booked. I don't know if you need to just have one WWE tag team titles, to kind of have it just like the women's tag team titles. For that, maybe that it might make sense instead of forcing people like Sheamus and Pete Dunne in the past, Ridge Holland and Pete Dunne, forcing single superstars like Sami Zayn and Jey Uso, or Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, or another example, A-Town Down Under, having these guys go out there and be like, oh, like we're single superstars where we're going to try our best and become, tag team like Finn Balor and JD McDonough. I do not like that tag team. Tag team wrestling should be, guess what? For tag team wrestlers. Like that's their thing. This is something that they ultimately have in their bag of tricks. Something that they were kind of, signed on to do, something that they were designed to do. But I don't know. It just kind of sucks. I definitely feel for them 1,010%. With the arrival of the Motor City Machine Guns, the Usos being reunited, what's next for the Street Profits? Like I said, what do you want to do with the Street Profits here? Like, what do you want to do? You have these two tag team superstars who are actually pretty great. These two tag team superstars that have suffered because WWE was like, oh, let's put the belts on Grayson Waller and Austin Theory. 8-town down under, let's do it. Or a young Tamatonga and Tonga Loba, not young, but like a young tag team, the Bloodline. Oh, in their first, run, we're going to have them win the titles right off the bat, which was terrible. You had them dethrone DIY, who was an actual tag team. And, you basically, kind of threw their name in the dirt. And, the Street Profits are definitely one of the most favorite teams I've ever watched growing up within the last, couple of years as a wrestling fan. They keep the tag team division very exciting, very unpredictable. Just Montez Ford, high flyer. He's strong. He's a tactical wrestler. He can hit a submission here and there. You're like, oh, a wrestler like that. Oh, okay, something in this tag team has to be a lack thereof. So, D'Angelo Dawkins, well, what could he do? But D'Angelo Dawkins, he's strong. He's dominant. He could high fly. He could dictate a match inside the ring. He's big, he's bad, but at the same time, he doesn't come inside the ring and be too much of a dominant force to kind of undervalue his opponents. They're perfect. These two superstars are the perfect people are the perfect wrestlers that you could put the belt on and have a great wrestling promotion run smoothly throughout generations. But WWE doesn't see it that way. I don't understand why. I ultimately thought this was going, the match with the Motor City Machine Guns, and not with the Motor City Machine Guns, with DIY. I thought they were going to win. I ultimately thought this was going to be a nice little feud that you can have back and forth, kind of creating the Dudley Boys, Edge and Christian, the Hardys, with the Street Profits, Motor City Machine Guns, DIY, and hell, maybe even the Bloodline. Screw it, why not? Let them get a piece of the puzzle as well. Or like Pretty Deadly. Pretty Deadly. They're an actual tag team. And they're dominant. They can throw strikes. They can talk trash. They come off a little feminine, but obviously that's not what wrestling. That's what wrestling doesn't discriminate based on your storylines or trying to be like a I don't know, like a more sensitive kind of wrestler or anything like that. So I feel like the tag team division has been for quite some time kind of in this balance of bad and really bad. Like just no, but it is bad. It's super bad. And it sucks that Montez Ford has been a victim of it because I would absolutely love him to make a singles push, but it's been reported by Dave Meltzer that the reason why they will not promote Montez Ford is because what are we going to do with D'Angelo Dawkins? And then, by all means, that's true. Sometimes, the shocking factor of tag team partners turning on each other, you don't know what the hell you're going to do with the other guy. Like, you think about this in terms of like with with Marty Jannetty, he's not with the Rockers, you had Shawn Michaels and stuff like that. Kind of stuff like that. When you saw Jimmy and Jay break up, the moment that happened, I was like, what's going to happen with Jimmy? Like, what the hell? Like, you kind of condemned him to death there. But overall, like it's a very touchy subject, and I just hope that WWE doesn't fumble, Montez Ford because he's a true traditional talent, and just once again speaking on behalf of some former WWE superstars that were absolutely frustrated with their character and who left WWE because of it. Bobby Lashley definitely in that, in the conversation. Also, Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné made her way out of WWE based on, contract and, creative problems. And, it's, like you said, nothing to go against the boss or anything like that. There was rumors that she was, terrible to work with, that she wasn't being a team player. It was her way or the highway. Now she has creative control inside AEW. I honestly don't agree with that. I feel like when superstars do have, a creative control, they more or less kind of do a little bit more harm than well, I guess you can say. But Sasha Banks is also another WWE talent that left CM Punk the first time around, was clearly frustrated with the way he was booked. He should have been WrestleMania main eventer a long time ago, but at that time Vince McMahon was forcing Roman Reigns down everybody's throat. Even CM Punk said in an interview that it was wrong for him to do that to Roman. And what could he really do about it? What could Roman really do about these fans giving him negative feedback because this is something that he did not want to even wasn't even intentionally doing. Then CM Punk, in that spot with Triple H and Vince and The Rock and John Cena, you basically are stuck in this vicious cycle that is the corporate, and then you have the top two favorite employees who got exactly what they wanted. Kind of like kind of I don't want to say the kiss asses or kind of like the teacher's pet, and then CM Punk, the actual worker, the guy who actually brought fans inside the building. Because even when CM Punk was gone for all those years, you would hear a CM Punk chant from time to time on, in terms of wrestling. And that was something that was absolutely taboo. They did not want to acknowledge it. They hated it. They hated that CM Punk was still getting all this attention. That just means that he left such a mark in terms of the wrestling world that, he wasn't forgotten about. And voicing his frustrations about WWE creative was great. Recently being released, we're going to talk about it in our next segment. Baron Corbin thought WWE a fan mentioned on Twitter, basically saying that they dropped the bag in terms of Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin was like, you know what, I agree, and I feel like within Baron Corbin, I feel like that also agrees as well. Cody Rhodes with his first night with WWE, his character was dropped after everything's going to work out with Ted DiBiase and with Legacy. Austin Aries, a huge guy in TNA. Also, once when he made it to 205 Live, he became the Cruiserweight champion. And, he left because of creative issues. And obviously, then something to do. Jon Moxley, Dean Ambrose during his, stint with WWE, the reason why he left, he was, this moral compass burning Seth Rollins merchandise out in the parking lot in a trash barrel. It just wasn't good. It just wasn't good. Jon Moxley was like, all right, all right, all right. I'm done. I want to be known for my wrestling inside the ring. I don't want to be known for doing, trash promos. MVP once again has been very, 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 very vocal about, how him and Lashley and a couple other, obviously, speculations, a couple other African American wrestlers didn't really get the treatment that they deserved inside the WWE wrestling circuit. And MVP was he was not afraid to kind of stand up to what he thought was right. Obviously, you had African American wrestlers in WWE kind of back Triple H, Paul Levesque on like, you know what, like clearly MVP, he's upset. He didn't feel like he got, and the Hurt Business was kind of done dirty. I got to be honest, it was. So just people upset about their creative control. Sometimes, WWE, they grab a storyline, they run away with it. They're like, hey, I don't care what your mom, your brother, your sister, your family, anybody has to say about it. It's going to be done the way we want it to be done. And you're for it or you're against it. And if you're against it, guess what? We're sending your ass packing. You know what I mean? So, definitely, Montez Ford has not been the only person recently, or historically upset with WWE creative control and stuff like that. All right, guys, our fifth and final segment, we're going to talk about some WWE wrestlers recently released, more or less kind of focusing on, the whole Baron Corbin aspect. So grab your favorite snack, grab your favorite ice cold beverage, and join me here. So, hey, do not go anywhere. All right, and welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here, your favorite wrestling fan, to talk about everything in terms of the world of professional wrestling, all the action inside and outside of the ring. We talk about backstage current calls, backstage rumors. We talk about contract statuses. We talk about injury updates, inactive statuses. We also talk about promotions from AEW to WWE, to Ring of Honor, to TNA, to the GCW, to the New Japan Professional Wrestling. And but yeah, basically in terms of the world of professional wrestling here, every Monday through Friday, make sure you guys check us out on the GSMC Sports Network at 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern. So without further ado, let's go and talk about a fifth and final segment. We got my boy Emmer with the GSMC Soccer Podcast starting in 10 minutes. So we make sure you stay tuned for that. All right, so we're going to talk about some WWE stars recently released. Recently released. I don't know why that sounds so weird coming out of my mouth. Tegan Nox, Indi Hartwell, and Baron Corbin. Sad day for these three amazing, young, talented superstars. Well, not young. One, Baron Corbin, I think he's like 40. Indi Hartwell, I think she's like in her early, I don't even know, maybe early 30s. She looks young. She looks very, very young. Tegan Nox as well. So Baron Corbin was in WWE for 12 years. He was in NXT for 5. He was a United States champion, NXT Tag Team Champion with Braun Breaker, and he won the Andre the Giant Battle Royal in 2016, 2019 King of the Ring, and the 2017 Money in the Bank winner, who ended up cashing in on, I think it was John Cena, and it was just a joke. It was just a ploy. It was just terrible. I think he had some backstage issues with Vince McMahon. And then after that, Vince McMahon was like, you know what? All right, I'm not high on Baron Corbin anymore. Let's just bury the guy. So then that's how that went downhill real quick. Tegan Nox was in WWE since 2017, was in NXT for 4 years, suffered a knee injury, at the 2018 Mae Young Classic, and also an ACL injury later on, and she was released in 2021. Of course, she came back a year later, but now she's officially gone. Indi Hartwell was in NXT from 2019 to 2023. She's won the NXT Women's Championship. She's been a WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. She recently had a heel turn with Candice LeRae. Her and Tegan Nox, they have 90 days before they can actually seek out another wrestling promotion. And I feel like anywhere would be lucky to have them. Ring of Honor, TNA, the CMLL, MLW, GCW. These girls could definitely wind up inside the WWE wrestling circuit again. TNA as well. TNA, they're doing a whole new, different revamp of the TNA Knockouts, division. And it would be phenomenal for Indi Hartwell to make her way to TNA. It would be amazing to see Tegan Nox come back, of course, if absolutely healthy. Obviously, in terms of, your health, you don't mean to to tear an ACL. You don't mean to, tear an Achilles or anything like that. Like, stuff happens. Professional wrestling, very physical, very, very physical. A lot of these superstars don't get the credit for how much physicality it is. And, sorry, excuse me. When people call them professional athletes, people kind of like kind of laugh it off and kind of turn to the side. And you're like, dude, like, are you kidding me? Like right now, like these guys are actually professional athletes. So, got to give some flowers whenever it's due. But, I could definitely see 1,010% Indi Hartwell making, a huge impact inside TNA. Kind of reminds me of like this new kind of, flavor, not flavor of the week, because I feel like that ultimately kind of simmers out. Kind of like this new kind of face in TNA. Like you don't really have a wrestler like TNA. I mean, like Indi Hartwell in TNA right now, like she's like that bubblegum, that that poppy, maybe like a little bit of preppy, kind of look, and she could prove dividends inside TNA. Like Jordan Grace recently lost her championship, Knockouts World Championship to Masha Slamovich at Bound for Glory. That just opens everything wide up. And, why not have Indi Hartwell go to TNA to kind of, reestablish herself and maybe make her way back into WWE, or maybe perhaps even making her way back into NXT where she shined so brightly. And, even in the main event picture with the Roxanne Perez, Julia, Stephanie Vaquer, the Zaria, and Lord only knows, Jordan Grace, stays in NXT. It's a big deal, and kind of adding different, kind of personalities, different types of wrestling, different types of, standards in terms of what a women's wrestler in the division in terms of the knockouts should should ultimately look like. Indy Hartwell could be like this high flying, very charismatic kind of wrestler, and I think it'd be great for her. I feel like that would definitely be a nice spot to kind of put her in. But so yeah, it's it's very up in the air. It could be crazy. Anything could happen. But more or less, is kind of wishing them the best in their future endeavors. Obviously, I hope to see all three of these in the in the squared circle once again. All right, the main focus, Baron Corbin, very adamant that WWE. He agreed with the someone commented on his post of retiring, saying like, "Hey, that's all, folks." On X, saying that WWE kind of fumbled the bag and his character in terms of Baron Corbin. He said, "Yeah, I completely agree." So there's it's true. It's true. Oh, it's damn true. It's true. Baron Corbin debuted on the main roster as like the lone wolf, and he was great in that spot. I don't understand why they decided to change him. Of course, you had him win the Money to Bank, and of course, like I said before, after he got on the bad side of Vince McMahon and WWE officials, he was kind of buried. It seemed like no matter the gimmick that Baron Corbin had, Constable Corbin, you had poor Baron Corbin, you had the King of the Ring, you also had did I say Happy Corbin already? You had all these gimmicks that were, to the naked eye, I was like, dude, this guy looks like a total idiot. This guy looks like an arse. But then at the end of the day, Baron Corbin did everything in his power to make the storyline, to make the gimmick, to make it look real, and to make it look great. And that's something that Baron Corbin did very, very well. This guy has have training in MMA. This guy's he's trained in martial arts. He's a Golden Gloves boxer. Like this guy was great for WWE. WWE, I feel like they did drop the ball and they did drop the bag. They fumbled the bag in terms of Baron Corbin. And it just kind of sucks. He wasn't really highly utilized. I didn't really get it. He was stuck as a mid carder for the longest time. His little run with Apollo Crews in terms of the tag team division, I thought was decent. But once again, in terms of I don't want to be a hypocrite. I feel like tag team wrestlers should stay in tag team and not two single stars. Form of the tag team, but Baron Corbin, obviously, him and Braun Breaker were pretty badass. I thought, I definitely liked it. It's kind of crazy to think that Nathan Frazier and actually, dethroned them. And then, now they've been the NXT champions ever since. And that's, that seems kind of crazy. But, I definitely feel for Baron Corbin. I like him. I definitely think that he was, I loved it how WWE brought him to that lone wolf kind of aspect. Once again, I did not like him in that, like, in your face, annoying, pandering to the crowd, asking for money. I did not like, the happy Corbin. When he was the King of the Ring, he was pretty badass still. He was super, Constable Corbin was terrible, was stupid. But I don't know, it was it was kind of sucks. It was crazy. So, essentially, yeah, Baron Corbin being released by WWE. Will this be a way for him to kind of make his way into other wrestling promotions like All Elite Wrestling, Ring of Honor, the GCW, basically anywhere, I feel like anywhere at this point we'll be lucky to have him. There's been reports that, he, used to play on the Indianapolis Colts and he got pretty close with Pat McAfee, and that he might do something on on the McAfee show on the college broadcast or something like that, because he's a huge college football fan. It's up in the air right now. It's up in the air. Obviously, Baron Corbin, if he ever makes his way back to WWE, I wouldn't be surprised, or I wouldn't be really against it. I feel like it would ultimately be best for both to kind of have that. But then, WWE said, "Hey, dude, we're not signing your extension. We're not going to give you another contract. Maybe he goes out there, he plays his cards a little bit, and maybe he ends up, inside the, independent wrestling circuit for for a little bit, which Baron Corbin he could pull himself out of it. Like, and it's not like wrestling in an independent circuit like is a diminish or a black mark on your wrestling career or anything like that. Sometimes that's what it takes to come back and be like, hey, like, I can do this. You guys, drop the bag. I want to make sure the Triple H follow back error, get a fresh set of eyes that I can kind of dictate my character from the get go. But which I kind of thought Baron Corbin did. Yeah, I don't really think he did anything wrong. It was just unfortunate. It was just bad booking. I'm gonna miss his end of days. I'm gonna miss the deep six. Whenever he did that move, you'd have a freaking Corey Graves deep six, and it was like, oh shit, like definitely gonna miss that. All right, guys. So, hey, that's it for me today. Hope you guys had a great time watching the podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Remember to follow us on Twitter/X, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook for more content and updates. Like I always say, make sure you Superman punch that, like and subscribe button to the show. Follow the show, follow the network if I have not made you a wrestling fan by now. We have all these other amazing podcasts that you guys should check out on the GSMC Sports Network. Hope you guys had an amazing, blessed weekend. Happy Monday. Can't wait to see you guys the next time we speak. Stay beautiful, and of course, love you.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a